Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition for the love of music right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful guest all the way from Dubai is Swapna Abraham. Now, she has got a boasting. We can boast for her because she's not the boasting type, but she has broken 4 world records. No, not at sports, but in doing songs. She did 2,321 songs consecutively, breaking 4 world records. And she did them every single day live while working a full-time job. Now that is dedication, that is passion, that is conviction. Oh my God, is that creativity? She shares her story, realizing her calling after having reached what she imagined was a dead end. There are people out there that are probably at that dead end and they cannot see the light of day. If hers could be any form of navigation for them, she achieved far more than she did in her 1,000-day challenge that set forth 4 records in singing, songwriting, and everything else until then. So it was like, I'm going to give up. Well, I'll just try one more time, and here we go. She's a singer-songwriter for Kerala in India, who has hundreds of songs in career spanning 25 years until she embarked on the World Record Challenge and producing all those many songs. She's based in Dubai. This challenge was self-imposed just after her decision to give up music for good. Primarily a gospel artist, her style of music stretches across the entire gamut from pop to country to folk and to soul. She has she has, to her credit, 21 albums, 19 gospel, 2 secular, all in English. And boy, gosh, we are talking to a very talented lady here today, but not only talented, somebody who has a great deal of passion for what she does. I've listened to her songs, the fact that she'd come home from work, just do a song just like that. It was like, oh boy, did she have her creative juices going. Welcome to the show, love.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate your kind words. So kind of you. Thank
Oh,
you so
well,
much. I'm really happy to be here.
yeah, I'm happy to have you here. And we're going to hear all about your story and how this came about in a moment. But like, I'm sure when you embarked on this, one day I think I'm going to give up music. And the next day, well, I'll just kind of give this a try. That you never know that it was be 4 world records and 23, 2,300 whatever songs. Had somebody told you that, would you have done it?
Possibly not.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been too
Possibly
daunting, wouldn't
not.
it?
No,
Yes.
absolutely. The initial idea was only to do one a day for 1,000 days, and even that was daunting.
Mm-hmm.
So, had I known it would be this many, I probably would never have done it.
Right. Right. What started it? I mean, what made you decision, I've put out all these albums, I've just had enough of music, I don't want to go any further, and then complete flip.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I don't want to sound, oh, this shouldn't come across as vanity, but after the 21 albums and performances all over my country, all over the world, so to say, English speaking countries, there was this terrible void and the feeling of not having been fulfilled. So that's the reason why I'm saying I don't want it to come across as vanity,
Right.
but I think it's potentially when, and none of us really knows this about our own lives, if there is something ahead of us that we are to achieve but we don't know what it is, we could very well reach that point where push comes to shove and then we start thinking deeper in the box, thinking out of the box, so on and so forth. So that's possibly how I reached my wall. I call it, in the book that I've just written, I've called it, I reached a wall, a dead end, and I couldn't see beyond the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, you know what? This lack of fulfillment made me feel like it was such a waste of everything that had been done. And I thought, let me just stop trying. What am I
Mm.
trying towards? So if
Yeah.
you stop trying, then you don't feel frustrated. And I thought, let me just give up, pursuing music anymore. Then I'll just be a regular person that doesn't have music. Then I listen to music, so what? But no, see, this is it. It's this ambition is somewhere deep within us, and it just needs that. Okay, you're going to give up. You just it's just waiting for you to say that to yourself.
Mhm.
The next morning, I woke up. So it's just after I decided to give up, right? The next morning, I woke up and said, "Yes, I will give up." But before that, let me just do one more thing. Then I said, "Let me
Little
do
did you know.
a song a day for 1,000 days." And I'm like, okay. So I came back from work that evening, wrote a song in about 45 minutes, done. Did it the next day and the next day. So 3 consecutive days. And I'm like, you know what? I can do this. This is very doable. But then I don't know if we're going to be talking how the 1,000 became
Oh, yes.
2,321.
We
I
want to
had
know it
no
all.
idea. whenever you whenever you say go on with that and let us know, I'll
Yes.
tell you.
No, I want the whole thing. We want to know how did it get to that many?
No, absolutely, absolutely. They a few days before I was going, so when I knew I was going to do this, it was a good almost a year before I started. So many things to be done, starting with finding World Record Organization
Mhm,
approval and this and that. It's so laborious, believe me.
mhm.
It nothing has to do with songwriting. It's just all these other things you
Yes.
have to get in place to do something like this, right? A few days before I was to start, the person who was responsible for me getting into singing and songwriting passed on. But my one of my he is my first love. He was my first love. He died, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like such a downer before
Yes.
something so important. And I spoke to him 2 months before, wished him on his birthday, and he was really happy about this challenge and concerned. Okay, so that was one. And then just 2 or 3 days before I started, I got to know that someone in the world was already doing a song a day for the longest time.
Mm.
And the World Record Organization at the time that accepted my record, I said that it wasn't the case. So I asked them again, and they said, "You know what? You can be the first woman doing it." And I'm so I was like, "No, let me decide if I want to be the first woman doing anything. I just wanted to be the first person doing something,
Yes.
something special. Let me
Yes.
decide,
Yeah.
right?" So I said, "Okay, so let me do a second song every day for 1,000 days." And I didn't want it to be just another song, so I thought, let me do a song for children every day.
Mm.
It's out of my comfort zone. I've never done songs for children. I don't even know what that is, right? But then I decided and started. It was so difficult to do the children's songs. It was like already 2,000 songs, and I was dreading it. How am I going to do this? And composing live. It's such an intimate activity. It's
Yes.
like recording your dreams. It's so personal, and then
Mm.
you have this audience before you that are not just watching you write a song, they're watching you think.
Yeah. You feel like they're drilling into your brain.
Absolutely. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing. It took me a couple of weeks to get used to the fact that people are watching the process. Uh, but then you get immune, you get better, and you get bored, believe it or not. Again, this shouldn't sound like vanity. 2 songs a day for such a long time
Yeah.
it started feeling so boring. And I
Yes.
thought, you know what, I'm a gospel singer, right? So let me write a third song for 100 days. All right, that should be easy. I'm anyway doing it, I might as well do another one. And you get better when you do this on a daily basis, right? You start off, it's taking you an hour or something for, because I'm doing it with Pro Tools, with the recording software and everything. It's taking you a little more now, then you become 45 minutes. I've even done, I think, songs in half an hour because you get so tight, so focused, right?
Mm.
You just want to finish it. So this 100 days, a third song. So that's another 2,100, right? Again, that was over, and I still have a good 6, no, 7, 8 months more for the challenge to get over. And I said, let me do 5 more songs in addition to the two every day, My goodness. And I'm actually talking to myself. Are you even listening to what you're
Yes.
saying? It's
Do
like
you
you
have a
need,
life? No.
I know. So I'm not, no, I don't want to do the same thing again. I'm doing a regular song. Some of them may be gospel, a song for children. So I like this, the book of Psalms in the Bible.
Hmm.
And I thought, I've worked in the Psalms back in the past, two projects myself. So I thought, let me take lyrics from the Psalms and do these 5 additional songs every day from the Psalms. And I thought that I'm going to enjoy this, and I did. But there you go. Working on somebody else's lyrics is going to take more time, and I didn't realize that it's more difficult. It's even more difficult. So then there we go. So that's another. How many was that? 40 days for so 200 more, right? So, but that's not part of any world record.
Hmm.
It was just something I wanted to do, and I did it. And then I thought, is it, see, when you're doing something like this, Sarah, you have to stretch yourself as much as possible,
Hmm.
because once this run is over, if you want to start over, that you're just not going to be able to, I believe. So when you have this momentum, you can stretch more and more and utmost, right? Then I thought, what else could there be a world record for? And then let me do the most number of songs in one day. And I came up with I know, and I came up with the number 21. That's the children's song, the regular song, and 20 other songs. Oh my goodness, that was just. And on the second last day of the challenge, I should have at least kept it a few days before, because day 1,000 is the most important day. I'm my own event manager. From midnight on the 1st of January 2020 till about 10 p.m. I finished all those songs. By the time I reached the 18th or 19th song, I can tell you that I thought my brain was bursting or something. I was maybe disintegrating. I don't even know the word. It was combusting.
What about your voice, though? I mean, surely that was
Perfect.
going.
This is something I discovered, that you can kind of get good at managing it, at the
Ah.
technique, and you get good at belting a bit, and yet and not straining, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's just being very, very careful. The moment you know the voice is going to tear, then the next song is going to be one of those soft ones. Going to
Hmm.
sip some tea and
Yes.
kind of fix it a bit. But when you're doing this on a daily basis, you do need to sleep for about 6 or 7 hours. Only then does the voice rest. You have to
6 or 7 hours. I would have put
I
12.
know. You have to rest your mind
Yes.
to think about new things every day, because you're not pre-thinking anything. I'm not sitting on a Friday and Saturday are our holidays. So I'm not sitting on Friday and Saturday and writing all the songs for the week and then just pretending to go live and make it a song.
Yeah.
People can actually tell if you're fudging it. See,
Yes.
so absolutely. So yeah, on day 1,000, finished the last two, and it was done. 2,321 songs, um, only 4 world records.
Only.
Only.
Shucks, girl. You could have gone for six.
Which means to say one wasn't. One was just because I wanted to do that. But
Right.
it's very fulfilling, though. Yeah.
I mean, just like crazy, the thought of this every single day. I mean, I write a blog and do my own show every week, and sometimes I have no idea what I'm going to do it with. And I just
Wow.
look for a word. And like this week, optimism. We don't use that word positively enough. And I decided to do a show on that. Press the button, out it comes,
Wow.
and there it is. That's how I work. But I couldn't imagine having to do 2 or 3 songs a day where you have to come up with it from scratch and do it
That's
live in
exactly
front
what
of
you said
everybody.
you're doing.
I know, but I do
Exactly,
it once a
Sarah.
week, not every day.
It's like, this not knowing what exactly you may be
Mm,
speaking about, and just
mhm.
going with that confidence, not knowing anything. You don't have a pitch,
No,
you don't have bullets.
right.
Sometimes you do, but
Yes.
like when I'm driving home from work, for many of the days I was doing it from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., right? Which means I woke up at 3:30 a.m., slept at 8:30 a.m. That was for a few hundred days. But then for the rest of the time, I was doing it from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., then 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., whatever. So I'm driving back home from work. It gives me some time to think about what I may want to write about. Like
Yes.
what topic am I
Yeah.
feeling, that kind of stuff. Still no bullets,
Hmm.
and nothing. You just go and go live. And so when you're telling me how optimism, you just get on and then you
Yeah.
do it, you surprise yourself by what you're going to say, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yes, actually, yes. And then
Fantastic.
I kind of do the blog afterwards.
Right.
Very rarely is it a blog before, but it's mostly the other way around. And it's like sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do until there's something that's inspired me or something that's, concerned me, and then there it goes.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm out of head, right? I'm just in flow. And you just
Wow.
let come out what needs to come out. So is that how it is with you with the songs?
Absolutely. And I noticed that a whole lot of life's issues that I
Yes.
probably never spoke about, it all came into
Therapy.
songs.
Therapy.
Absolute. It's cathartic, like God
Yeah.
knows what. And I was like, I just needed to write that song. And there we go, Sarah. So after the challenge is over, speak about withdrawal symptoms, right? If we ever
Mm,
will. It's just this stifling feeling of not being able to express, not being able to do that anymore
yeah.
is terrible. That's it. Besides the general withdrawal symptoms of the mind and the body not going back into making songs every day, your body suffers a bit. Your
Mhm.
mind, your enthusiasm suffers. That daily high of
Yes. Well,
rising
your
to the occasion.
creativity, right? Your creativity
Absolutely,
is being on the
absolutely.
ball the whole time, and now you're asking it to subside, and it doesn't
Yes,
want to because it's still got
it doesn't.
plenty in there. Is that how the book
It,
came
it it
about?
will never end.
Yeah. No.
Exactly. It's
No.
the book. Exactly. So when I was writing after this challenge was over, withdrawal symptoms, I resigned from my job because I was entirely fulfilled as an artist. This whole
Hmm.
thing that I felt before the challenge about lack of
Hmm.
fulfillment, that was totally gone. I really can't be bothered anymore. Uh, whether I'm accepted or not accepted,
Yeah.
I am just so happy I'm done with that,
Yeah.
right? But then there you go. Everything else in life, except for family and the
Mm,
real stuff, is just so not good enough.
mm.
I needed so much more I wanted to give so much more. You see, you just want to give more,
Yes.
and when you're not able to, you're like, no, I don't want it. I resigned from my job, stayed on for another 9 months because the firm was they were really kind and they wanted to get a good replacement, which took them a while. Thank goodness I could stay. Not an impulsive decision. I knew I was going to leave because I still have to find the new me, the new
Yes.
work,
Yes.
because I'm now not the same person
Mm-mm.
that was before the 1,000 days. I realize I'm a new person. I have to find my new fit in so many ways, so many senses. So I started writing I resigned eventually, started writing the book. Oh, there you go. We can express once again
Mhm.
the whole journey, the learnings, and so many things that I didn't even realize were part of the process. I'm like, oh my goodness, I took that for granted, but that's an important point.
Yeah. 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 Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, I mean,
Anyway,
you're a creative person that has to be in her creativity, right?
absolutely.
Because if you're not, it's like, where's the meaning of life, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it's that meaning of life that comes out of what you do. You were given a gift and you were meant to spend that gift. And you're not
Absolutely.
really kind of fulfilled unless you are using your gift in one way
Yes.
or the other, right? Obviously, you
Yes.
don't
Yes.
need to do it every day.
Yes. No, no, we don't. In memory of the challenge, Sarah, rightly so, I'm doing this now once a month. I'm doing that daily songs, whatever,
Yeah.
one song in a month. I can't tell you how hard it is for me to do one
Yeah. Yes,
in
because
a month.
you're not in the frequency of flow of creativity. When you're
Exactly,
in that
exactly.
frequency, you're riding that wave, and your brain, your heart, your soul, your mind, everything is engaged and it's in sync. So everything is just pouring out. The knowingness is just pouring out. And when
Whoa,
you
whoa.
so when you're when you're holding back and you're only doing it once a month, you've got to get engaged into that flow
Absolutely,
to do it
absolutely,
instead of
yeah.
being in the flow all the time.
I really like that you're using this word flow, because flow means there's always going to be more.
Uh-huh.
The more you give, the more you get, and the
Yes.
more you can create. Creativity does not, it's not like a tap that you You
Right.
you can willfully close it, but that burst is always there. You only have to release it, and the flow is a given.
Yes.
I like the word flow because that really is what it is.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, when we look at the wind, it's in flow. We look at the water, it's in flow. You know, we look at
Yes,
the oxygen and the blood in our body, it needs to be in flow. Everything is about fluidity. And
absolutely.
creativity is about fluidity. It's about having a vision and allowing that vision to guide you into
Yes,
actualization. Um, I'm a person about actionism. Don't talk about it, do it. Right. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it's, when you're in that creativity, this is why you probably were able to churn out as many songs and creative songs as well, because you were so utterly and completely in tune.
Absolutely, Sarah. Now, I think that we need to discipline our potent bodies and minds
Mm,
to come up to that which we are capable of doing.
yes.
Because if we don't challenge ourselves, if we don't cultivate the discipline, there's going to be this I'm able to, I'm not rising to it, I don't have the discipline for it. So we really need to push ourselves. We need to explore within and outside and find out what we're all made of. Because I know for a fact there are thousands, if not millions, of people over there that are so capable, but
Mhm.
have not yet discovered their gift.
Right.
Perhaps even discovered their gift, but are just not in the flow.
Right.
And I feel that the universe, we don't owe it to the universe, but the universe is full of all of our energies, isn't it, Sarah? And I think that
It
the
is our energy. It is our
universe misses
conduit.
out when we don't.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's a two-way street. The universe is feeding us. It's flowing through us. It's giving us our divine wisdom that
Yes.
resonates with the heart, and the spirit knows what to do with it, and the mind will know what to do when it needs to know what to do with it, because we're too much always in our heads and in our intellect. But we need to be in tune with the heart, soul, and spirit, which is the universal wisdom, to understand the
Yes.
knowledge. Right. And when you're in
Yes.
flow, the universe doesn't stop flowing, earth doesn't stop flowing, nothing stops flowing. We stop flowing.
Exactly.
Right. And when
Exactly.
we stop flowing, it's like, I know that I just had a few days away with my kids, and I took my mini computer, which I can't work on. So it's just
Mm,
literally kind of emails and this and that. I can't get into the right mindset to work when
yes.
I'm away. When I come back, I'm in my office, I'm in my staging. And the
Absolutely.
moment I get back onto the computer, I'm back in flow. So sometimes what we're missing in our creativity is a structure in which to build from.
Speaking of mobility, and we have a hotbed where we're most comfortable creating,
Mm-hmm,
correct?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I had this. However, I had to try. My daughter got married before the challenge, and just after a few months in, she had her first baby. I'm in Dubai, she's in the US, right? And then she had her second baby. Through this 1,000 days, I had two grandchildren. Um, my son graduated from university in Southampton. Also through these days, and he got into an internship in Singapore. It's not like we're solving our problems. The world is still big and small,
Moving.
so we
It's
have to go.
still,
I
yeah.
know, and we've
Yes.
got to go
Lives are
around
going
there and
on.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. My father suffered a fall in India, and I visit my parents at least once or twice a year. So it's you've got to do what you've got to do. Just because
Yes.
I'm in a challenge, my duty is daughter, mother,
Yes.
sister. That doesn't stop. It has
No.
to continue with no interruption.
Mm,
I don't want to deprive my family of anything. So
no.
now, this challenge is tied to 24 hours of a day in Dubai time. So if I'm going to New York or if I'm going to Singapore, I better clock in the songs for the day and move with my date clock, my
Yeah.
Dubai date clock.
Yes.
so,
Whatever time it
so
is, wherever you are. Yeah.
exactly. And I've had situations where I'm close to missing a flight. I've gone to the airport manager's room and said, "World record, sir, would you please be kind and give me some space to do my challenge?" And I've actually sat in the lounge and done it
Mm,
because this is when you realize you will have no shame whatsoever to in order to fulfill your goal. You will knock whatever door you have to knock in order to complete those songs. You
Yes.
need a bit of power, you need a bit of space, you need Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You will pay for it or you will ask for it
Yes.
somehow or the other,
Yes.
and you will get it done. And it just takes one day, just one day, for you to lose if you don't
Yeah.
do it on one day.
Right. And yeah.
And as long as 24 hours is, 24 hours can also go like this in a blink if
Yeah.
you're too busy, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm
And
like,
then and it's always that people don't always understand. Well, you can just let it go for a day. No.
you
It's
see,
like,
you see,
yeah.
yes.
I know your hot weather in Dubai, so 40 degrees over here probably is nothing to you guys. But we had a heat wave, and in my little office, which has lots of window, it was 40 degrees, and Mondays are my upload day. My show's
Right,
going
yes,
out,
yes, yes, yes,
and
yes.
I had 9 shows to go out that day, and I am literally in a sauna. I mean, I had to cancel an
Wow.
interview, but I got all the shows out. Even the computer slowed down, and
Oh,
I've got wet towels wrapped around me, and I just get those shows out there because the show must go on. Right?
absolutely.
They
Oh,
go
right.
out
That's
4 o'clock on Monday Pacific time for Tuesday's airing, and they've got to get up there no matter what the weather is. You can't, that's the commitment that you've made. And when you've made that commitment, apart from you kind of being in a hospital flat on your back that you can't move, you're going to find a way to do it, aren't you?
absolutely. So, when I visited my daughter after her first was born, the second visit, I had influenza. I contracted influenza A
Oh,
over there. Can you imagine? And then my doctor said if they can admit you in the hospital, and I was approaching day 400. She said, "Amma, you'll have to stop the challenge." I said, darling, I'll need to take a 2 hour leave even in the hospital and just do the songs. It's okay. I have the gear. It's mobile."
yes, yes.
You see what I
And they
mean?
probably wouldn't
But
get it, right? They wouldn't understand.
no, no. And she's like, your life. I'm like, I think we need to understand that sometimes our commitment is
Hmm.
as important as our life,
Yes,
our commitment to our goals, to ourselves. And there's
yes.
an audience over there that's been with us, that's been encouraging us. There are people, oh, maybe there are also the odd people that are waiting to say, she's probably going to lose.
Yeah,
You
yeah, of
know?
course. There's always those.
But I can only be grateful to God because it anything could have gone wrong.
Right.
Even on day 1,000, there was a tech glitch. And I was thinking, my God, even at the last moment, something can go wrong.
Oh,
We
yes.
can never take it for granted until that curtain goes down.
Right. And especially with the internet, because, especially if we're in Mercury retrograde, that is the nightmare. Absolute. Anybody who works on the computer knows that retro Mercury, it is just horrible to do with the internet because it's an energy that comes in and it just disrupts. And so
Oh
you
my
get
goodness.
so much work, so much interruption, during internet, doing interviews. I don't do live anymore for that reason, because if
Right.
anything happens, we can reschedule, we can do something. But I did for 13
Yes.
months, and you'd be in the middle of something and it would just disappear, or they would
Oh,
disappear or something. So yeah, doing it
all these
live,
glitches.
all
But I
these
think
glitches.
yeah, I think even for your uploads, you need a certain kind of consistency of bandwidth, isn't it? Because I've gotten
Oh,
stuck in
yeah.
certain countries with the
Yeah.
bandwidth, like the hotel internet, for example, if you're in a hotel, and it just does not take. Uh, Doing all the songs is one thing. And
Yes.
then you do the mime videos. The videos have to go up. The audio has to go on SoundCloud. You've got to thank each person that showed up on the live on Facebook. It's their time, and I
Yeah.
have to thank them. So thank you is easy, but the uploads, they
Yes.
sometimes take forever. They
Oh,
just don't go.
I changed 2018. We changed our wiring so that it was more in suite because I'm in an apartment building. Before it was the whole apartment building, and it could take 8 hours for one show to upload to YouTube. Eight
Oh my!
hours, right? And it's like,
That's the
no,
heights
I
of
can't
patience
work
now.
this week this way. I can't. So people actually, when they see something like this, they actually don't know everything else that goes into it. They see you writing the song, putting it out there, interacting with people, and they think that's it. It's just that period of time. And they don't realize all the other work that goes out around it, the production work, right? That
Absolutely.
and
Yes.
that's really where the time is, the actual art piece is small compared to everything else that you have to do.
Yes, post-production,
Yeah.
all of this used to take the main song maximum 45 minutes, the children's song 15 minutes. The uploads is easily another hour and a half. Easy.
Yes. Yeah. My shows are anything from 4 to 5 hours with the show
And
to
yeah,
produce. Right. So,
and then this is when there were two songs. Can
right.
you imagine the
Yes.
days that I was doing 7 songs and I was okay? These are for the 7 songs a day. I was working half day and took my annual leave for the rest of the half day. So and just because you're working half day, it
Hmm.
and you're showing up for work every day, people will still send you the full load of work because you're showing up
Right.
every day.
Right.
So you double up at work, and then you come here and you triple up on the challenge.
Now, clearly for this 1,000 days, you couldn't have had any social life.
No,
And
except
and and the
for
word dating is something that was on another planet.
absolutely. This was strange because when I would meet people, I tell them I'm doing something on a daily basis, and they would actually look at me like, "Is she for real, or is she
Yeah.
pulling my leg, or
Yeah.
what?" So, but we have office offsites
Mm.
from Dubai. We have to go to Beirut for the offsite, and then again it's a 4-hour flight. Or I have to go visit my parents. There's a family, an important birthday, or my father suffered a fall again. So there's always stuff that you've got to
Yeah.
be at, and you will be at, right? So um, no, I think social. I'm not a very social life kind of person,
Mm.
but I didn't miss any of the important milestones
Right.
related to family or work, because I believe work. Just because you're doing a challenge,
Yeah.
you cannot compromise on work. In
No.
fact, the discipline that we cultivate on
Mm.
something like this, Sarah, I think we should be able to apply whatever is good about it in our work.
I
It
I
shows up in
agree.
our work ethic, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes. Well, it becomes the very structure and foundation from which you foundate everything, where you build everything, right? Because
Exactly.
I'm a true colors coach, so you know the 4 key personality traits, and my trait, the goal of the people who love the structure, the building blocks, give them a plan, and they will build it, right? And very orderly, everything in its place, right? And I
Right.
am not that person. It's my last color. It's in the next building. It's nowhere near me. And to do this, I have to become very structured because you know there's
Right.
you in order to do the pre-show, the show, then the editing and the obviously getting it out all to all the platforms and then getting it out to all the social media and then everything else that goes along with it. I had to become orderly. Now I'm still not
Yes.
great because it's still my challenge. It's not my
No, but you've
strongest personality,
cultivated
but I've
the
certainly,
discipline.
yeah, I've it's risen up in percentage just because in order to do what I loved, I had to build the blocks in order to be able to do
Exactly.
it, right?
So many
So,
other
yeah,
things which have nothing to do with the
right.
actual
Hmm.
actual content, isn't it? And
Yes,
and Sarah, I was also thinking that just because we show up every day, it doesn't mean we're not coming from real life where there is
right.
pain, where
Yes,
there are days that I could actually get on the song and I don't want to do it.
right.
I don't, it's not the writer's block. I don't have the emotional stamina to
Yeah,
write a song. It's
yeah,
not, I'm not creative. I just don't have the heart to do it, right?
yes.
But you have to because, and
You
this is the
made a
whole,
commitment.
absolutely. So, first of all, showing up is half the work done, isn't it? And then after that, just putting your defenses down and trying. And then it comes. The moment you put that first step, then the rest just comes.
Well,
But
especially if you are kind of in sort of some low ebb or pain or anguish or fatigue, right? It's like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this. And then that word or that obstacle. I mean, some of the best songs in the world come from pain, come from
absolutely.
sorrow. So
Hmm.
sometimes let your vulnerability show. You know, it's,
Yeah,
oh no, it's got to be perfect. I've got to save face. I've got to only put this out. No, people fall in love with you when they know you're just like them, vulnerable,
exactly.
that you have
Exactly.
hard days, that you could be sad, you could be depressed, you can have struggles. They don't want to know everything's rosy with you all the time because that is a false illusion, right?
I know, yes, that it is real people that are
Yes.
still trying to do special things. I remember I signed up for our office basketball team for a consulting firm tournament, and I
Doing
was
this at
playing.
the same time?
I know.
Are
Can
you
you imagine?
glutton for
I
punishment,
totally, and I hadn't played basketball since school, right? So I was going there with just no training, but I wanted to be part of it. It's just that huge energy flow,
Mm.
right? So I went there, and at one point I ran so much, so hard or whatever. I fell, I tripped, and I fell, and then I was like, "Damn, I haven't finished the songs for the day. I should have done it before the." So whatever bandaged it, came
Yes.
home, so much pain, and then I wrote the song. But this is it. This is it's part of the story. I don't know if that day's songs had anything to do with falling, but
Yeah.
but it's beautiful that life is still happening in the background.
Yes. Yes. Well, actually, in fact, my career in podcasting came about through my depression. I was at a redirect, a transition, a particular something I had invested in, taken all my money, and every time and everything else had just crashed. And it was like, where do I go from here? I just don't know what my world is going to be, and I have to be of purpose, otherwise I feel useless. And I
Yeah.
was in that phase. But what I do is I reach out to try and counsel others, because it's a way of me getting through my own depression, not
Oh
feeling
yeah.
useless. And somebody saw an article that I wrote and went to my site at the time. And she said, "Oh, would you like to be on my podcast network?" What's a podcast? I didn't even know. And I had no money to do it, but somehow found it. And I joined her and I did it for 13 months and I fell in love with it. But it was live. I call it the soap opera training. It's great
Oh,
training for
nice.
actors to go in and train in the soap operas, because they have to learn their lines quickly. Everything's got to be done quickly, one or two rehearsals if they're lucky, and it's every single day. Right. So,
Yes,
and
yes.
so it's hard training, but it's good training, because if you can weather
Mm.
that, then you can weather anything. And so and then it became kind of that ignition of the passion. I was looking at humanity going, you suck, humanity. And then I started interviewing people, ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and hearing their
Wow,
stories, hearing their courage, their strength, their abilities, what they were doing for humanity. And it completely renewed that there
wow,
is goodness in the world. We just don't get to hear it or know about it
right.
because no one's putting it out. And that became my job. So,
Wow.
2000 shows later with me and 2800 shows later with my host, it has showed me like this ordinary people like you with a passion, and you're just going to go, okay, I'll just give it a try. Why not? Just do it. And then, well, why not do more? Then why not take on even more? And okay, all right, that's over. Oh, I've got to do something else. And it's like you're driven by that passion and that conviction to share something that's going to uplift people, that's going to ignite people into their own possibilities. So I celebrate that in a big way.
Absolutely. Well, I have to say at this point that, in spite of all the albums and concerts and all that in the past, I sort of felt like a big failure until I did this.
Yeah.
Until I did this challenge. This kind of closed many chapters in my life in a solid way.
Mm.
A lot of the gaps were closed through the singing, the songs, the therapy, the daily showing up, the intrinsic affirmation.
Mm.
A lot of the people said a lot of the things, but I had to say to myself, well done on a daily basis, which I
Yes.
did. I did
Yes.
every day. Well done, like literally pat on the back, well done, and then when you see, for example, people out there make an excuse
Mm.
when it will have possibly been easy to do something,
Yeah.
you wonder like, maybe I was also like that at one point, and this person will someday get to understand that, if you just try a little harder, you don't need to give the excuse, just do the job.
Yes. Yes, when you look at the people who have faced whatever their challenges are, whether it be health, whether it be life experiences, whether it be literally placing a challenge in front of themselves and rising up to it, pushing themselves beyond their own limit, your own self-discovery that you made throughout of this. You gave a gift to everyone that was listening and to anyone that can access the music now. But the greatest gift you gave was to yourself,
Yes.
right? because it was
For
your own
sure.
self-discovery. All those other albums you did for other people.
Hmm.
This you did for yourself. You shared your vulnerability, you shared your heart and your soul, your enthusiasm, your creativity, your optimism. You shared that all with everyone else, and it came from you, the very core of you.
Oh,
And so
yes,
that's
of
the
course.
real you, right? As opposed to the albums which are managed and produced and everything else. So yeah, you stepped into yourself doing this.
Absolutely. Sarah, I'm sure you've seen this as well, but there are definitely a lot of people that have been inspired seeing what you're doing, your commitment, your shows, what you're giving. This happened to me, oh, in the course of the old albums as well, but it happened a lot in the course of the Thousand Days.
Yeah.
People from all walks of life, and this is the good thing about the internet now, the World Wide Web, from
Yeah.
all over the place would show up and just say hello and oh that was an interesting song, oh that spoke to me. You
Yes.
surely hear this a lot. I
Yeah.
know that,
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much more precious than just a song. It meant
Yes.
something. So many of them have even started, if she can do two every day, I can do one in 3 months, can't I?
Yes.
Because
Exactly.
I'm not even a wow musician or a wow singer for that matter. I'm just a songwriter and I sing a bit, play the piano a little bit. So if with this little I was able to do this much, can you
Yeah.
imagine those who have crazy talent?
Yes.
What
Well,
they
you've
can
got
do?
crazy talent, girl. Don't sell yourself short on that. But the point
Thank you,
is,
Sarah.
it was coming from you to your audience, right? Not
Hmm.
an audience that you were told to show up for. You know,
No.
it's different. It's not saying that any of your albums were manufactured, but I'm sure it wasn't 100% input from you,
Yes. No. No. Yes. Yes.
right? This
Yes. All.
was. This
Yes.
was
Yes.
entirely you. Not only your responsibility, but your creativity, your vulnerability. And when people come back to you and say, I heard that one, or that uplifted me, or that's going to be my song for this, that, etc., you know that
Hmm.
you've ignited something in somebody.
Yes.
And that
Yes. Indeed.
ignition of somebody, of shifting someone to a different perspective, to a different state of mind, to a different heart set, is
Yes.
so rewarding. And that,
Totally. There's no words for that.
no,
Yes.
and if we all just did that a little bit for our fellow man, shift that perspective to something that's more possible, and more optimistic, and look at it that yes, we can, because look at what they did. And if they did, what's my excuse? Surely I can find something in myself, and I can
Yes, and
switch the thinking.
yes, my both of my children, in their respective careers, which are very different from what I'm doing, they tell me that, Amma, you've set the bar quite high.
Yeah.
And I tell them, mine was mine. Yours is yours. But
Yes.
I think if there's something that you can emulate, is just rise to your calling.
Yeah.
Do your best. It doesn't have to be the best or world record sort of stuff, but do justice to your purpose of existence. Just do justice to that.
Yeah.
And to the people placed in your life, like for my daughter, as her children, do put this in them that they've
Mm.
got to rise to their calling and do justice to their living,
Yes.
being on the planet.
Yeah, because every single one of us has a contribution. Every single one of
Absolutely.
us. When I first started this, my son just treated it as a hobby. I've been 9 years in this now. Um,
Whoa.
and now he finally, then it was like, but you're not making money from this, mom. You're not making a living out of this. And I said, I'm trying. Is you've got to do this and you've got to do that. And I said, this is my industry. It's not yours. When you know my industry, then please come forth with ideas that I can apply to it. And then a couple of visits ago, he said, I finally get it, mum. You have to do this. This is your heart. You're compelled to do this, and you need to do this because of the impact you're having. And
Oh,
and we will
it's the
find the
best
money
thing ever.
elsewhere, and it was like finally you're seen for who you are and for what you do, which in what we do want as human beings is not the validation I'm so great, is the validation that you're seen and heard, that you are contributing, that people can see your contribution. Because what is it to be a human being? Every single one of us has a beautiful instrument. We need to learn
Yes.
to play it and bring it to the orchestra of life. right? And
Correct.
in that orchestra, we play a symphony that just invites and liberates and uplifts everybody. We are all part of the whole, but we are an individual instrument. So we need to know what that instrument is and feel confident enough to share it.
Exactly. Oh my, that's said so well. That is said so well about the orchestra and the instrument. That
Mhm.
is so right. And we create the symphony together, each
Yes,
doing our own part.
yes, yes. My son's in
Mhm.
the restaurant business. For him, it's about food, the harmony
Wow.
and the symphony of food. Somebody goes
Yes, of
away with
course.
a smiling stomach and a smiling face, he's happy, right?
Oh, yes, of course.
And
Yes.
the thing is, it doesn't matter what your instrument is, and the fact that you may not have found it yet, but be willing to
Perfectly fine.
explore, be
Absolutely.
wondrous. When you started this, there was a wonderment about you. I wonder if I did this. And you had to go through a whole year of getting all the bottles in line for you to do this, because there's all the rules and the regulations and breaking a record. That could have
Yeah,
put you
yes.
off. That could have put
And
you
and
off.
and you're right, Sarah. And you know this thing about when we decide to do something,
Yeah.
we have to put a date to it. We have
Yes.
to put a date to the start is most important. So it was in the end of March that I went through this whole, giving up and then doing, let me do this. And only on this and I decided I would end it at the start of 2020. I thought 1st of January 2020 is when I would end. And then I backtracked 1,000 days and I said 8th of April 2017 is when I start. So
Hmm.
I started on that day. I did the math wrong and I realized that 1st January was the 999th day. That's the day that I did the marathon of 24 hours, correct.
Right, right.
And the finale was on 2nd January 2020. The whole point is that, and I've mentioned this in the book, that everything is only a dream until we
Mm.
put a date to it. That's when it
Yes.
starts becoming a plan.
Yes. Yes.
And no one is going to take any of our talk seriously until we are serious about it ourselves.
You're speaking to someone right now, and I feel you're kicking me in my butt because I've got everybody saying to me, Sarah, where's your book? And I thought last year with COVID, oh, I'm going to have time to write the book. I started doing 8, 9 shows a week because people were needing the pivoting and the support and how to handle anxiety and everything else. And then this year I thought, okay, I'm going to, compile the book. And no, everything else kind of came up. So
Just
yeah, by March of next year, my book is going to be in place. I'm setting that date.
awesome.
So
Awesome. That's awesome. So when I wanted to write the book and I asked one of my seniors about how does one write a book, because I've never written a book,
right,
I've only written random stuff. And then he instructed me on how you would probably get to writing a book. And I wrote and wrote, and it is now 43 and a half, actually a little more than that, thousand words. And if you ask, I know, if you ask me, it's all happened within about 35 days. This exactly. So I'm glad you have that date. It's
yeah.
going to happen.
Well,
It's
now
going
you've
to happen.
got the editing of the words, and it's like, well, if I've got that much content, clearly there must be 2 or 3 books here.
Look at that. I've already finished. I've already finished 4 edits of the book. And I probably will do one more because I just don't. This is the thing about book writing. I realize you don't want to miss a single thing. You don't
No.
want the book to go out and then say, "Oh, I missed that."
Yes. Yes.
So I want to read it and be sure I haven't missed out a single point that I wanted to convey in writing that book. And that's so important that I'm writing the book because I would never write a book.
So when is this book coming out?
Still in the process of the literary agent finding the publisher. So as soon as we find the publisher, it should be out.
Good.
Oh, the
Good.
book is ready.
The book is ready. Good. And that's the thing, isn't it? Is there's all these little milestones we have in life. We kind of look at, when we got married, when we have our children, when our children have our children, and when we, all these little milestones that we have. And one thing about older age is looking back and going, okay, I did do something with my life. I did,
Wow.
contribute here. I did explore there. I did step out of my comfort zone there. And I'm a person, I can't go back been there, done that. I have to move forward, but it's blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel. And half the time, I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just going and see where it goes. But having that structure of that date, I'm going to give it this date. I'm going to give it this ABC. I think kind of allows the creativity to still be creative, but not letting it disperse out into the ether, but become something more structured that you can
Tangible.
actually share. Yeah, tangible. Yeah.
I like what you said there, Sarah. This thing about let me take stock of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Today, as I am this age today, and each one over there, and yourself, I like what you said. Let me see what I have done and what I've been today. And sometimes we need to write that down.
Yes.
And this is part of the exploration process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, how come that's not there? Oh, wow, that's there. I could have done something more. Or it's never too late. So this is a very important step, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely are looking forward, but this retrospection is good.
Yes. Yes, because most of the time where we're at, we go, your life may not be perfect at the moment. And then you look at it and you think, okay, well, this kind of sucks. I feel pretty useless. Well, no, look back on what you have achieved. Look back on what you have done. Um, I've had to face some challenges in life that at the time I thought I never could face or could never get through. Not only did I get through it, but I became much stronger because of it. So every time you face a challenge, and I did a show a couple of weeks on about facing your challenges, go through the emotions. You're going to feel sad, you're going to feel mad, you're going to feel despair, you're going to go for all of those emotions, because you don't get clarity of what to do with the situation until you do. But when you look at a situation now, you're not so daunted by it, because hell, I've been through a lot worse. Right.
Exactly.
And not only
Yeah.
do I know what I can do now, but I also know I'm strong enough to do it now.
Exactly. And now when I have one of these days when I think, oh, that's so difficult, I'm like,
Yeah.
are you even listening to what you're
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
How can this, how can,
Yeah.
how can you dare to say this is difficult? Because, excuse me, give yourself some credit for what you've done and
Yeah.
remember the things you're capable of doing before you say this is too difficult. You
Yeah.
have to know I am the person who did something like that in the past. I can not be a total write-off. I'm still capable of that. Maybe it's kind of, dormant.
Mm.
I can revive it all
Yeah.
over again if I want.
Well, you look at an athlete, let's say at the Olympics, they've trained all their life at that one moment. They can miss a goal, a medal by a minuscule of a second, but it's about their own personal achievement. I did it, for the blood, sweat, and tears. I got there, right? And I did my best, and that's really where we want to be in life. I did my best, and it's not measured by somebody else's best. It's measured by my own, and but when they've done that and they've trained for all of that, now what? Because their life isn't about that anymore. It's now about that redirection. What are you going to take for everything that you've learned from that? And where are you going to put it now? So that self-exploration has to come in. So you had that 1,000 days of that discipline, of that creativity, and then it's like, now what? You
Oh
know?
my goodness. Thank you, Sarah. The day after I finished, so I finished on the second. On the fourth, I jumped off a plane. You know, the plane jumping
Yeah,
on the plane thing.
just need another challenge.
I just have to do something totally crazy.
Yeah.
And when I jumped off I know everyone, so many people have jumped off the plane, but when I jumped off the plane, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is somewhere close to what I experienced
Yes.
before.
Yeah, the
And
euphoria. Yeah.
exactly. So I traveled west and saw my daughter, east and saw my son, west and saw my parents, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
We got stuck, and then my world started just crumbling, right? And my father passed on.
Oh,
He was old. He came here for the finale. Thank God for that. And he was ready, prepared, left. But then again, you're dealing with grief
yes.
when you're already having withdrawals and then
Yes.
grief and the world is shut down and you're alone. Oh
Yes.
my goodness,
Yes.
your challenges are one too many. One too many. And then you just don't know how to discover the new fit for the new you.
Well, especially in a world shutting down, because it's not about adrenaline. It's about turning that volume right down to calm, to a hum,
Yeah.
right? So, it's it's the calmness, it's the stillness. It's like, who am I now in this world and where can I go from here? For so many people, it's been a gift where they've looked at it and realized I was chasing, chasing, chasing. And I realized that it was an empty life. And now I'm changing directions altogether and doing something different, doing something that is more to who I really am and what I want to do. And it was been a great gift for people in that way, and that pivoting. But I think it was also a gift to slow everyone down, because it's like, if you've ever had an accident, it happens like that. But when you reflect on it, everything feels in slow motion.
Yes, yes, of
So I
course.
felt that first few months of shutdown were like slow motion for people.
Mm.
Like it just like does everything slow down, and you've got to pay attention to it now, where you're so used
The
to just going
details,
by it because this, and this. Now you've got to slow down and pay attention to it.
the
And
details.
for some people it was hell, and for other people an absolute gift, because they really did see what mattered, right?
Correct.
So
Mm.
coming from 1,000 days and all that adrenaline, and then seeing your family, great, that was your down thing, and then suddenly shut down, I can imagine could have been extremely hard for the creative juices.
No, absolutely. So for me now, it's not so much more about making songs. I can do that. Of
Mm,
course, at will, I can do that anytime. But for me now, my life goal is more. I've always felt very close to abandoned children, orphan
mm,
children, and the aged people.
yes.
I would like to do collaborative activities, bringing these groups of people interacting with each other whenever possible, and see how I can make this happen. So this has been on my heart for the last few months now, and I don't know how it's going to happen. And even these thousand children's songs that the challenge rolled out, I'm thinking of bringing them all out in board books,
Mm,
50 volumes of 20 songs in a book. You see, these things are constantly hammering
yes.
my mind.
Well, as you're talking, I'm immediately thinking about taking senior or older people, musicians, and putting them with young people's voices, or musicians, and putting them together. So you have the beautiful gift of longevity and artistry from those that have been, to the creativity and the inspiration of the young, and having them merge together. Because in that, not only is it respect for the senior, but it also is a validation for them. And then the golden nuggets that they share to the youth. So I would
Yeah.
say your gift is music. Continue music as being that connector.
I'll remember that, Sarah. Thank you. I never thought of that until you mentioned it just now, but thank you so much for that nugget.
I'm always a seer, see the possibilities, right? Because I've interviewed so many wonderful musicians that, to be a working musician all your life, you're only as good as your next gig. You know what
Yes,
that's like. And
yes,
yet, be 30 years, 40 years in the business and still be in the business, still loving the
yes,
music, right?
yes, yes.
That is a lot of work, and, a lot of dedication, and also building up a reputation, which
And
you can
staying
only do.
informed.
Yeah,
Hmm.
staying really in tune to who you really are. But imagine taking those people as an inspiration to others that want to start, and that wonderful, wonderful knowledge, the wisdom, because the kids may have knowledge, but the wisdom and actually how to tune into that knowledge musically could be absolutely exquisite.
I'll remember that. Thank you. Yes, that's lovely.
I'm always,
Thank you for that.
I'm turning 67 in a month, and it's like, don't write us seniors off. We've still got a lot to share.
No, you look super gorgeous. Are you
No.
serious? Oh
Oh
my
yeah, yeah,
goodness. Oh my
67. So,
goodness.
and it's like still a lot to give, and so
Absolutely. You've got a long way to go. I'm telling you, for heaven's sake, a
I,
long way
I,
to go.
the youngest I've had is 10, who shared a book, 365 Days of Gratitude with a Positive Attitude. And the oldest I had was 89, who still had her own TV show, and it's just
Wow.
like,
Wow.
it is the beauty of it is, it's where is your enthusiasm? Where is your
Hmm.
enthusiasm, your zest for life? Because so many people give up because of the age bracket. Or, you're this age now, you should be doing this. No, that this age, you should be doing that. Throw away the shoulds. Because at certain ages, you look at it, I've been there, I've done that, like I've done my duty. Now, where is my
Mhm.
conviction? Where's my passion? Why can I
Yes.
do something where I can be an inspiration for others and at the same time give me a reason every day to get up?
Yes. Indeed. Yes. Yes. I still have to find that, but yes, I will certainly get there.
Yeah, no, for you, it's most certainly in you. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a 1,000-day challenge again.
My
Been there,
mom, my
done that,
mom was
right?
absolutely. My mom's like, whatever you do, please never, never do
Yeah.
things for so long a time because it's just too much for us. Every time I tell my mom, you know what, I'm doing an extra song every day, not just one. She said, oh, I'm going to be praying for you, Mom. I said, I'm doing another for 100 days. Oh, let me pray a little more. Mom, I'm doing another five. Oh, and by the time I told her about the 21, she nearly lost it. She's like, I have run out of prayers. Please. So she said, please never do another long thing like this. It's just too painful to
Yeah.
watch.
Yes, yes. Exhausting to watch, right?
It is, it is, it
But
is.
again, that was your marathon. You had your achievement.
Yeah,
You won your
that's
medal
right.
on that. So
Yeah.
now it is, what can you do that can be, just as impactful, but actually like a cord that stretches out, that it starts and it builds and it stretches out. And that's what I love about jazz or the saxophone. It stretches and you can just feel your entire motions, your body, everything along with it stretching out. So what can you do now that can stretch out?
I'm looking forward to it. When and how that happens, and I hope soon enough. Yes, I've had a good break, done my work, done the book,
Yeah.
a lot of thinking, and introspection. Now I'm absolutely ready for the next thing. Let's see.
Yeah. And there's so many beautiful things like with kids. We have so many Indica kids today. I don't know if you get America's Got Talent over there, but we have it
Mhm.
over here. And there are young kids, 10, 11, 12. Their
Yes.
voices are absolutely supreme. The control, their
Oh,
presentation.
whoa, whoa,
You
whoa,
look
whoa.
at them and you go, oh, purity, purity.
Yes,
Now you
yes,
take that
yes,
beautiful purity along with some maturity and then you
yes.
see where it can go, right? Because
Hmm.
you've equally got older people who've never had that chance and they're there for that last chance, to do their thing. And it's like everybody's entitled to a dream, everybody.
Yes, of course.
And we're
Of
all
course, and
entitled
people
to
should.
pursue it. Yes. What's the reason for life if we isn't about wanting to achieve something, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
once you've achieved it, what's next? It's not over yet, not over. Just got to do some self-discovery.
Yes, yes, yes. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, no, I can see it. I've got a few people to introduce you to too. So
Oh, I look forward to that.
that
Thank you,
work with
Sarah.
kids and things like this, and so I think that maybe something might ignite something inside of you. But I love
You
the
never
idea.
know.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm so grateful to Lachelle for putting us in touch with
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
This is the power of networking. How would
Yes.
I ever know about someone as wonderful as you doing a
No.
program of this stature if not for my friend Lachelle? And how
Yes.
did I meet Lachelle? I got in touch with her randomly on LinkedIn in connection with my challenge. And I said, do you think we could just connect? And I was literally reaching out to the universe because
Mm,
there's no PR
right.
budget, there is no marketing
No,
budget. I
this
am
is the marketing today, right?
this
Interactive networking. Yes.
it
Yeah.
is a one person team
Yeah.
and anybody who lends
Hmm.
a hand or who just is with me is in the team and
Yes.
I back with them with whatever they stand for, right? So the power of networking, my
Yes.
goodness, it's just we can't stress enough how we need to collaborate and encourage one another.
Right. I mean, we're a community. It isn't about competition. I don't like competition. I don't like
Correct.
comparison. It's about community because every single one of us is bringing a dish to the table,
Hmm.
right? And it might not be the dish that everybody likes. It doesn't matter. Somebody will love it. The thing is, lay out
Absolutely.
the smokers board, lay out the buffet, let people partake of what they want. Try new
Absolutely.
things. And
Yeah.
Michelle is. I've had her on 3 times, and she exhausts me. I invite people to go and listen to her shows. Just put in Lachelle Atkins on my site, selfdiscoverymedia.com. And the first time I interviewed her, I had an asthma attack. And I have never
I'm
seen
sorry.
myself have an asthma attack before. And I didn't know my face contorted so much because I'm trying to breathe,
Are you
right? And
serious? Are you
serious,
serious?
serious. And I'm, clenched. I couldn't even pause because I'm clenched. Everything clenches down. Managed to get my asthma pump, get my lungs back. And she's just going, it's all right, dear. Take your time, dear. I'm so glad it happened with her. And then
Wow,
we
she's
just
amazing.
continued
Yes.
on with the show. And then when I look back at it, like, oh my God, no wonder people look at me freaky because I look like a spasmodic freak, going off when I have this attack. But, it's another time there's a scorpion in the kitchen and at her house, so it's like she's a woman with a full plate, but everything she does, she puts heart into it. And that's what I love. I love people whose hearts show.
Absolutely. And who walk the talk.
Yes, yes, yes. And for me, it's if it doesn't really matter what you do, as long as it comes from the heart, that I know you're going to do it with the right intentions.
I'll remember that. Yes, that's right. That's right. It will bring out good results for yourself, for
Yes,
the universe, for people around, for anyone who gets in, who comes in touch with you. Your
yeah.
work will be a blessing if your heart and soul is in your work. And we can tell that kind of work from just work. We can tell the
Yes.
difference.
Oh God, yes. And we're seeing this now in business, how it's changing, where it's invest in the people support the clients are happy and will repurchase. So it's people and clients, planet and profit will come from that, not the profit at the expense of man. That is an old way of
Absolutely.
thinking that's going out. And as you know, as a solopreneur, it is about if people buy you, then they're going to buy from you.
Hmm.
You are your business. So if you are coming at, from your business from a place of heart, I really believe in what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I love the impact that it has on people. If you're coming from that space, then people feel ignited, and I want to know what it is you have. But people are tired of being sold to, right? They want to buy from somebody who really believes in what they do and why they do it.
I appreciate that. You know, Sarah, all these songs that we write, we believe that they come from life in our heart.
Yes.
But if you ask me as an artist, what was the most fulfilling work that I did? It's not these thousand songs of the days or all of that. It's the book
Mm,
after that.
mm.
Because I noticed that I was able to to share a story with a certain transparency, as much as necessary without being without keep putting all the ugly details out there, because we've had some pretty scarred lives. I'm speaking for myself here, and I don't want to bring down anybody, but I want to lift everybody, right? So,
Yes.
and this the writing this for me this writing this book was way higher experience than any of
Yeah.
the songs that I did. I never imagined I would have this kind of a feeling writing,
It
and I'm
was a
sure
long
you're going to
flow,
feel
though. It was a long song where all your other songs are short. So this
it.
was a
Absolutely.
long song, right?
It was,
So
it
you
was,
could really let it get into flow and have its own wavelength and its
it was
own
beautiful.
movement.
It was so therapeutic in a
Yeah,
way I can't even express. So therapeutic.
yeah. And of course, people will see success. She's, broken 4 records. She's had 19 albums. She's did this 1,000-day things, and they're going to see the success of you. And people don't see the struggle, because actually that is your art of success, is when people don't see the struggle. But
Exactly.
when they do decide to open the veil a little bit and see the struggle it was to get to that success and bring that aluminum to people, then it is like the illusion of what they thought you were to the reality of who you are and what you went through to still bring this to the table. That's really what touches people's hearts.
I believe so. I believe so indeed. Yeah, and I look forward to yours, incidentally.
Yeah, well, it's partway there, but it's yes, it just for me, I'm a person, when I get into a groove, I've got to have time to do it, and I will just do it, and I can't be
Oh,
fragmented. So I will literally probably have to not do shows for a couple of weeks and compile everything together. So
for
yeah,
sure, for sure. It will take, and you will need that kind of a flow of thought to
yes,
write the book,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
uninterrupted.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly. And that is, know your own rhythm, right?
yes.
Yeah, in everything in life, know your own rhythm. We've all got a rhythm. We've all got a flow. Tap into it. Know what it is, because that's the increments. of time and everything else and energy is going to be in that rhythm. So get into your own rhythm.
I remember there were the weekends, for example, when there's no work, it's just the songs. I would actually spend a few hours doing nothing.
Mm,
Nothing. I'm not sleeping. I'm not watching TV. No, no social media, nothing. Just doing nothing
yes.
and
And
enjoying doing nothing.
there's an art to that. People don't do nothingness enough. Many a long time ago I did a show on nothingness. The art of nothingness is just simply, for me, it's like I'm up in the universe. You're amongst everything and nothing all at once. It's like you're weightless. The knowledge is all there if you want it, and if you don't
Yes.
want it, you're just in a beautiful space. And it's
Yes, indeed. I used to
and
have this once a week, and I look forward to my
yes,
nothing time.
yes, and it's so important because we need to go blank slate in order for the
It's like a
creative
refresh.
juices. Yeah, exactly. It's like the refresh button and what we press on our computer, right? We need that. Otherwise, we start filing things compiling on top of each other, and then it becomes chaos.
Correct, correct. So that
So,
was really helpful, by the way. That kind of reset and
mm,
nothing, no one, just I'm anyway on my own all of the time, but actually no thinking, no
yes,
working, no busy, no
yeah.
calls, nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I just go if I have since childhood. So I was a sickly child, so I was in bed a lot. So I created stories. I always had a movie going on in my head. And even now, before I go to sleep, there's a movie going on. But if I think about it too much, I get too engaged and then I stay awake all night doing this movie.
Yes.
But if I just allow the movie just to go in and out doing its thing, it's happening over here while I'm peacefully here, right?
Wow, wow, wow. That's being detached in a very unique way. I've actually written about that, how we can be involved in our work and
Yes,
yet be detached.
yes. Yes,
Mm.
which a lot of people go, how can that happen? Easy, because we can take the one part of the brain and put it on automatic, and the other part
Yes,
is in download and just relax. Right. Yeah.
exactly. Yes. And sometimes just autopilot.
Yeah. Yes.
It's going on.
That's why I love driving. Not in rush hour, but,
Me
having a
too, me
drive
too, me
because, I
too.
don't need music or anything else. The world is going by and I'm not in any particular thought. I'm just in the flow of the drive.
The
And it's
unwinding is
just, yeah,
so perfect
yeah.
with the drive, isn't
Yes,
it? I
yes,
fully agree.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
definitely. So you've got to find those things that feed your flow.
Yes,
The tranquility part of you is essential to the creative part of you.
yes. But and this is a must, incidentally, Sarah,
Mm,
and you rightly point this out that we have to find out things that reset us, that
yeah.
rest us, that calm the mind. It needn't be through meditation. It can
No.
just be. It can be a walk on the beach. It can be a walk on the
Yes.
street, whatever it is. But it is what it is to just zone out
Yeah.
from life.
Yeah. Yeah, I love walking along the waterfront. You've got the slash of the waves on the shore.
Yes,
You've got the
yes,
trees with the wind rustling through the trees, and all of them are having a conversation. Everything is
yes.
having a conversation, and you're a part of it without, right now I'm just looking at the trees blowing away like over there. And I always look at its movement, its flow, its freedom, right? It's nature has so much language to speak to us if we just shut up and listen.
Absolutely. I've actually drawn a parallel about this in the book, but
Ah,
in a different sense. In a different sense. When you're going on this world record attempt, I hope I'm within time, Sarah.
yes,
When you're going on a world record attempt, you're actually going down a path that has not been walked before.
right.
No one can teach you anything, you have
Mhm.
to find it, right? So it's like getting into a forest that no man has ever gotten into before, neither yourself, and you get in and you discover. You have the wows, you have the oohs, you have the things that freak you out, and you deal with it as and when you discover it. So
Yes,
this aspect of this challenge was just, you never know what to expect. I got stuck in a lift coming back from work, and I still had to do the song. I never thought I'd get stuck. I've never been stuck in a lift my whole life, but I did on the challenge one day. My bags got missing. The bag with the gear got
Mm,
missing, and then I'm just waiting the hours. I'm losing my hours. Please deliver the bag. Please deliver the bag. Finally, just comes quickly. Go to the song.
yeah.
Facebook glitch. um, something not working. Where Facebook Live goes, when you try to share it, doesn't get shared. You do another song. That's how the 1,000 songs became 1,001 songs, because I did 2 songs in one day since the live didn't get shared. So this whole getting into the forest that has not been traversed before is
Mm.
such a beautiful and scary experience.
But if we're not scared, and I don't mean fearful for our lives, but if we're not scared, we're not engaged. It's like,
Absolutely.
but that fear that can drive you forward into trying to understand or trying to navigate, it's your antennas going off, the whole senses going off. It knows when, oh God, no, that's something really to be afraid of. There's a grizzly around the corner, right? Or I just don't know where I am. Well, just be still. Listen to the forest, it will guide you, right? If getting out
Yes.
of head and trusting your beautiful instincts to guide you. If we could step more into our soul and allow it to drive us forward, we would realize we would always be in safe hands.
Absolutely. And I've always felt, see, when you do this on a daily basis, you have to find your solution to your problem
Yes.
within a few hours,
Yes.
because if you don't, you've lost.
Yeah.
So you're constantly reinventing the wheel when
Mm.
you're facing a problem. You call a friend, you call another friend, none of your friends can help you, no one can reach you. Even if they can reach you, by the time they reach you, you've lost your hour, so you can't.
Yeah.
So then you think, how best can I literally save the day?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
And you'll
Yes.
do it. Somehow you will do it.
And do not strive for perfection.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're striving for
I
perfection,
agree.
you're only going to let yourself down all the time. It's about getting it out there in the best way that you can. And the people that are going to go, okay, the quality wasn't as great as last week, but that doesn't matter. She went and did it. She went and did it against the obstacles, right? So
True, true, true.
this,
Absolutely.
I prefer rural flawsome. I think,
Ah,
I
so
think
that is.
flawsomeness is wonderful. Every single one of
Nice.
us has a flaw, but it's what do we do with those flaws?
Oh, I like the word. It's so nice.
It's a neat word, isn't it? And instead of letting the flaws govern us as something wrong with this, why don't we look at them as go, this is something unique. How can I make it creative and work for me?
Absolutely.
Right? In which so many people put limitations on themselves. I know what I can and cannot do. You don't reach this age without knowing what you can and cannot do. What I can do, all my energy is there. What I can't do, I'm not going to try and prove it to anyone. I simply can't do it,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly, exactly. And
But
don't even bother challenging me on that, because I'm not going to try and
right,
waste my
exactly,
time on that.
exactly. But you get behind me, challenge me in the field that I am in. Like I was 5 years, I only did audio, and then somebody says you've got to do video, Sarah. What? And I never knew the amount of work that goes with video, and I had to learn it
Whoa.
all. Right. So it's like I don't know if I can do it, and then next thing you know, you're doing it. You're learning it. You're doing it because it's part of the progression. And if we can look at
Yes.
that, it's okay to get into a panic. It's okay to get into some doubt. It's okay to get into ah, get that emotion out of you, and then go, okay, how do I do this, right? And be willing to explore.
Fantastic. I've learned so much from this sharing, by the way. Your fount of knowledge.
I'm so inspired by you, really. I mean,
Oh,
just
thank you, Sarah. I really
not just the
appreciate it.
1,000 songs, but just the fact that you're always propelling forward, always willing to look forward. You know,
Yes.
not resting on your laurels, not going, well, I've had my time, but like, okay, that was that chapter. That was that chapter. This is this chapter, and who knows what chapters I've got to come, but my book of life is still going on.
Indeed. And
So,
then miles to go before we sleep, whether that's
yes.
going to be tomorrow, whether it's going to be
Mhm.
10 years from now. Um, Whatever is left of our lives, as long as we can justify the purpose of being alive.
Yeah. Thank you for
and
saying
do
that.
our
Justify
best.
the purpose for being here, because we are all meant to be contributors one way or the other.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah.
We're all
Totally
part of
believe
the
in that.
orchestra, right? We're all
Yes,
part of the
symphony.
orchestra. Just what's your I don't care if it's the triangle. Just, it's as long as you're part of that orchestra, creating that harmony that is an inspiration that begets invitation to others. That's what's really important. And the fact that you haven't rested on your 19 albums, you could have rested right there. You didn't. You challenged yourself further. Then, okay, 1,000 days, 200, 300, 2,371 shows. And now I'm going to write a book, right? And so, like, who knows what's coming from you next? I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you, Sarah. But I've noticed one thing, that while we're exploring this rhythm you spoke about,
Yes.
life has a way of one unfolding the next.
Yes.
It
Yes.
happens as a result, it happens as an offshoot. It somehow
Yeah.
leads, either we change, or
Mm,
circumstances change, or just our gift develops into another
yeah.
expression, and then
Yeah.
something else happens. So I think as long as we're just open to learning and then expressing and giving, it just flows.
Open to the possibilities.
Mm,
Because unless we're open to the possibilities and opportunities, we're not going to see what lies in front of us,
exactly.
and also don't dictate them. Never dictate
Yes.
them. You can have a canvas of what I would like to achieve. How you're going to achieve it is really up to the universe and how it's going to use your instrument in achieving that dream.
Oh, I'll remember that. Thank you.
You
I'm
just
learning so much.
you paint the canvas. You want
Yes, indeed.
to help children and you want to help the elderly. The
Yes.
perfect thing is to bring them together. Let them inspire each
Exactly. I want
other.
to bring them together.
Yeah.
I believe that these two communities can
Yes.
be such a blessing for each other.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
and I'm at a stage and age where I will just revel in seeing this happen.
Right. And you're at an age where you've still got plenty of time to make it happen, but you're also at an age where you understand the gift of as people, we don't call it the elderly so much as we call it the wise ones,
Oh,
right?
nice. Even better. Even better. Even better.
Because
Yes.
if you haven't gained some wisdom at this these ages, then you haven't participated in life, right? Because that wisdom does come from living experience. And imagine passing that wisdom on and having it ignite the dream and the possibilities in a child or in others. What a gift that is to
It
both parties.
absolutely, they will feed off each
Yes.
other's energy, unlike any
Yeah.
other age group, is what I believe. They will just be such a blessing to each other. It'll be amazing. The
Yes.
synergy will be tremendous.
Yes. And we know that if you don't use it, you lose it. And so many people just put the wise ones out to pasture. And it's like, no, utilize the gift. You hear their stories, because
No
through
one is
their story,
no one is old enough, isn't it, Sarah? No
no,
one is old. No,
no,
no one is too old. No,
no.
no, no
I
one
live
is.
with an 88-year-old who chased a dog down the street the other day and caught it. She has more energy than I have. We're about to go to Montreal, to her city. She is
Oh,
just full of exuberance. Yes, her memory, short-term memory is going, but her zest for life, for living, for the exuberance of life is just intoxicating. And, that's
wow.
something we've got to have. Stop looking at all the struggles. We've all got them. Let's look
Hmm.
at the wonderment of life, the
Yes,
beautiful gifts that we're given daily.
yes,
It's a
daily.
reason to
Yeah.
get up every day.
Yes,
Gratitude.
yes, the attitude of gratitude,
Yes,
as always.
yes, absolutely. We all need it. I can't wait for the book to come out. When it does, I should most certainly be
Thank
posting
you.
it here on your posting. And then I'm looking forward to your next adventure. And I want you to come back and share what that is whenever
Certainly
that
will be my
happens.
pleasure, Sarah. It'll be my pleasure to share it with you and your world. Thank you
Now,
so much for having me
how
here.
do people get hold of you and the songs and reach you for anything else they may be inspired by right now?
Right. Thank you for asking. The website is swapnaabraham.com.
Would you spell that for people who are just listening?
SWAPNAABRAHAM.com. And the other website is Thousand Songs and Thousand Days. The thousands are 1,000.
Right.
Thousand Songs and Thousand Days.com. apart from these two websites, I'm there on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. My email address is music@swapnaabraham.com.
And you're
And
also on SoundCloud as well. So
absolutely, on SoundCloud as well. That's right, on
Swapna
SoundCloud
Music.
as well.
Right. And it's all here. All you have to do is put in her name in the search engine here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. And all of her music, everything will come up here in the one place where you can listen to these shows and where you can listen to her music. There'll also be some music that we're going to be sharing right here for you to have a sample of. And we're going to be closing out with one of your songs today as a sample. You chose Loved. Why did you choose this?
Loved was a song that I wrote back in the day, easily 12 years ago, when I was struggling a lot as a single mom with my children. Uh, we were all three of us struggling, my son, my daughter, and I. And it was really hard. Just getting on with each day was really difficult for us. And yeah, we struggled as a unit, but I struggled a lot as the mother of them as well.
Yeah.
And I wrote the song Loved, speaking about how the parent loves so much, but is so easily broken and hurt. But still, as a parent, we want to look beyond the hurt, look beyond the brokenness, and just love, just
Yeah.
love, just love.
Yeah.
So that song is about that.
It goes back to that lovely word flawsome. We do our best as parents, but we're very flawed because we're dealing with who we are and how we were raised. And when we hindsight, we would always think, I wish I'd done that better. I wish I'd done that differently. And it's like, don't beat yourself up. As long as you did it with love, you gave them the best of you, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. So that song's very special, very dear to my heart. When my children hear it, it moves them even now when they listen to it, because there are certain memories associated with the song at the time it was made. Both of them, by the grace of God, have come a long way in life, and I'm very grateful. But it's good that we have songs like this that remind us of the
Yes.
places we used to be at one time. Sometimes we can just forget about the dark places and the tough roads and the rough days. But then songs like this, and if we blogged about it, this kind of reminds us about how difficult the path was. Now everything looks a little nice, but at one point it was very difficult to just get up and face the day.
It also is a good reminder to be appreciative of every day you have, because you've known the dark days. Don't take anything for granted, right?
Exactly.
Always step into gratitude, right? Of each
Exactly.
other
Yes.
and of what you have. This has been
Thank you,
wonderful.
Sarah.
Thank you so much. I have enjoyed every minute
Likewise,
of it.
likewise.
Um,
And Self-Discovery Media, thanks to you, the enterprise. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. It's been such a pleasure sharing.
oh,
And the questions you ask, they I really like some of those things that you shared with me, because I've learned so much, and I'm very grateful for that, Sarah. And
my
the
pleasure.
affirmation of at different points, you have always said that was nice and that was good. It's really wonderful hearing it from a person like you that has done so well in this field. I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
Oh, well, right back at you, darling, right back at you. I'm very inspired by what you're doing, but I know that your book of life has still got many more chapters, and I'm looking
Amen.
forward to hearing them again and sharing them again. And anybody who just, it was a sacrifice, 1,000 days. There was a huge sacrifice there to put out this conviction and this dedication and this artistry, and the fact that you did it. Yeah, you broke the records, but the lives that you changed and those that you inspired, and the fact that you just showed people that the commitment to, when you want to do something, to doing it, just like we can, whatever the obstacles, we can, is an
Exactly.
inspiration in itself. So thank you so much.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
So everyone out there, if you're looking at something and you think, oh God, this is impossible, I could never do it, do your research. What do you need to do to put things into place to have that structure, have that foundation, and then go for it, because you never know what you can achieve until you try. Don't sell yourself short. If your heart and your soul and your spirit is in it, get out and do it, because you never know what impact it's going to have on others. Until next time, folks, bye for now.
Sun, you want my pride forever. Daughter, water, treasure, and my mirror. If I could wash my failures in security and be the mom you long for me to be. Darlings, each time you crossed a milestone, I smiled and cried with gladness just to see how you've grown. As much as I miss the babies that were just mine, I can't express the bliss seeing you this fine. I just can't do it up for you. It's just you and I love you with no end. Oh, I just can't hurt it up when you undo and break you a moment. You'll always be my dear beloved. Love. When you're bold, I'll hold you still with each breath. I'm hoping you'll keep coping well and stay in good health. It's almost like my life was meant to bring you into this world, teach you until you knew. I just can't do enough for you. It's just you and I love you with no end. Oh, I just can't hurt it up when you undo and break you a moment. You'll always be my dear beloved. Sometimes so cold, just me getting old, and the stories much less told. I just can't do enough for you. It's just you and I love you with no end. Oh, I just can't hurt enough when you undo and break you a moment. You'll always be my dear beloved. Love.
We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.